Okay, Bobby, and I've actually muted you too. So yeah, there you go. So thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We've got Bobby Martin on the call tonight. Jeri is recovering from this incredible weekend that they just had. So for those of you that don't know Bobby, tell us just a little bit about yourself, what you were doing before you found out about ASEA.
Well, my family's been in healthcare for 5 generations. And when I say healthcare, in the United States, we don't really practice healthcare. We practice symptom and disease management. And that's really what my family's been involved in. Now, originally, the first 2 to 3 generations were pretty much homeopathic, naturopathic, that sort of stuff. But boy, the last couple of generations have actually slid to the dark side. When I first saw network marketing, that was in 1993. And at that time, I owned 2/3 of a company that had over 1,000 employees. We were actually in the long-term care business or nursing home business. And we had 9 facilities. And a buddy of mine came to me and said, "You want to make some extra money out of your nursing homes?" I said, "You bet." He said, "Well, get in Amway." I said, "Okay, what's Amway?" I never even heard of it. Long story short, we made all of our administrators distributors, and my partner and I did really well. We made about $128,000 the first year, and all from just having people, our nursing home people, buy those products. And next year we about doubled that, and that's when I got 2 or 3 lawsuits settled that I was sick of, and I just said, "I'm not doing this anymore," and I sold out.
Were they network marketing lawsuits, or were they your other long-term care?
No. I've never had any kind of a significant complaint in network marketing. No, one was a retaliatory discharge suit. That's when you, as an employer, ask an employee to do something illegal like fudge an OSHA law or backdate a Medicare claim, and they refuse to do it, you fire them. And by the way, that's a felony. That's not a civil suit. And then we had another one where we had a sexual harassment case where one of the nursing assistants was complaining that some guy in the dietary department wouldn't keep his hands off of her. I spent 2.5 years, $55,000 with attorneys and investigators. Fortunately, the judge threw it out in summary judgment before we ever got into court. But I'll tell you, that's one of the main reasons why I just got tired of the headaches. On any given day, if one of my employees accidentally or on purpose caused harm to one of our patients, I was under the bus legally and financially. And I just told my business partner when we got the last one settled, I said, "I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore." And fortunately, we sold out for a considerable amount of money because for the next 17 or 18 years, as Jeri likes to say, I created multiple streams of no income in the network marketing business. Some of you may have had that experience. But long story short, 7 years ago, got a crazy phone call from a lady named Trish Schwinkler. And she basically invited herself to come down to our house because she was having lunch at the country club with some friends. And she showed up. And we thought we were going to get her in our isogenics business. But as it turns out, she got us in her ASEA business. And we will be forever grateful. It's been the most exciting 7 years of our life.
So in that time period where you were making multiple streams of no income, did you bop from Amway to a number of different companies before you found Isogenics and eventually ASEA, or what was your path?
I stayed with Amway about 5 or 6 years, and the only reason I left Amway, I didn't leave Amway. I'm still an Amway distributor, but I stopped doing the business because my line of sponsorship, they were the biggest bunch of lying crooks I'd ever seen. Man, they were terrible. They'd have the most inspiring church services on Sunday morning, and Sunday afternoon, they would look you right in the face and tell you a bald lie. And I just didn't want to be around that. That just didn't do it for me. And I was actually in Nikon right after that for a short period of time. But when I divorced that woman, I moved out of Nikon into another. I did water filters and liquid vitamins and spray vitamins, and all kinds of crazy stuff. But, there's 2 basic reasons, Cindy, why I didn't make any money. Number one, I didn't know what I was doing. I thought that the mindset and the skill set that had helped me be successful in my traditional business would just carry over into network marketing. And it didn't. There's no connection, no corollary. That should be encouraging to most of you, because you don't have to have been successful in a traditional business to be wildly successful in a network marketing business. But you do need to learn how to do network marketing, and I didn't know how. The other thing was that I'd sold out for enough money that I really didn't have to do anything, period. And as you can tell, I'm not very disciplined. And so when I didn't want to work, I didn't work. And so it was kind of hit or miss. In fact, when Trish called, it was 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, and Jeri and I were getting ready to go play golf. I was playing golf 6 days a week. And just to put it in perspective, I've played, I think, 3 or 4 times in the last 5 years. And people say, well, that doesn't sound very good. I said, well, I can play anytime I want to. I just found something that was a lot more fun than playing golf. And that's sharing this amazing business opportunity and products with other people.
So, Bobby, how does ASEA compare to the other network marketing companies that you've been involved in? We see how it compares to your traditional business, but how does it compare to the other network marketing businesses you were in?
Cindy, there is no comparison. It's quite frankly, when I saw the business model of network marketing, I had learned early in my adulthood that the only 2 ways to get ahead financially on this planet, you got to leverage time or leverage money. The one word that separates the working class from the wealthy is leverage. And most people can't get a leverage model. I had a leverage model, but it was very stressful. And the other thing was that, with ASEA is everything I dreamed could be possible in network marketing. Jeri and I got involved in April of 2011, so we're coming up on our 7th anniversary just in a few days. And in July, Cindy, I know you probably remember this, we flew up to Salt Lake City to meet these people. And we didn't qualify for a fly-in, so we paid our own way up there, but they were very nice. They gave us a hotel room, and they provided the ground transportation. In fact, Jeri and I shared the trip from the airport to the hotel with you. And then the interesting thing was, when we left on Saturday, we rode back to the airport with Denny. And I think at that time, I might be wrong, but I think Denny was like a bronze or a silver or something, maybe a gold, I don't know. But she certainly wasn't an ambassador diamond.
I think she was a 700.
Right.
I just woke up, and I would love to tell your team that I am so exhausted because I had the most wonderful weekend with my house absolutely full of people.
Yeah, we want to hear all about it.
Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. And I love my ASEA family as much as I do my family. So,
in fact, we love our ASEA family more than we do some members.
Yeah, well, I had to stick my head in. Sorry, guys.
Well, we appreciate it, Jeri. We know that there's 2 people in that business, not just one.
I can tell you there is. It was funny. We had a women's panel, and Jeri was on the women's panel, and they asked, what are the three things you do every day to build your business? She said, I take care of Bobby.
And I do.
And she does too. She really does.
Yeah.
Anyway, where were we?
You were saying
they also asked us, if you could go back and start over again, what would you do? And tonight I know what I would say to that. Product follow-up.
Yes.
you would do what if you had a chance to do it all over again, Jeri?
Product follow-up.
Product follow-up.
Yeah.
When people get their product, getting them started properly and keeping them on it.
Yeah, we didn't,
We've never done that well, and I think it's critical.
We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
I tell people I'm embarrassed. We've been in this almost 25 years, and I really consider that I didn't really learn to do network marketing the way I think you're supposed to do it until about a year ago.
I'm going to go ahead and come over here in my robe.
So, Jeri, Bobby, you were saying that you took a van ride to a fly-in to check out this company to see if it was for real, to see, who was running the show.
Exactly. When we went to a restaurant with Trish and a bunch of her people. I sat right next to Sue Branch. I didn't even know who she was.
And Denny.
Denny was there. And, we just had a great time. Then we went to this little meeting, I think there might have been, I don't know if there was 100 people there or not. I don't think there was.
No.
But we heard Tyler start talking about P over E with a rising C. And Jeri and I looked at each other because we both, Jeri ran a $20 million convenience store business. She was the business end of that. And, I had a pretty good sized business with over 1,000 employees. We'd never heard anybody in business talk like this guy did. And it just grabbed, I tell everybody, we went up there sort of looking for an opportunity, and we came home a day and a half later under an obligation. We saw mission and purpose, and we just saw ethics, and we just liked it. And it, quite frankly, I've never seen a company like ASEA.
We looked at each other and said, oh, wow, this is it. We're in.
It is. And we came home and started working.
Yeah.
And we've worked pretty hard for 7 years now. We've been very blessed. About 80% of our business right now is in Australia. And, we're very fortunate to.
Maybe 90.
Yeah,
those kids are doing so good.
But anyway, that's kind of where I've never seen a company like ASEA. We did a little presentation at our Super Saturday, Jeri and I did, about, the truth is, Jeri likes to say, I don't know how many people go to bed every night wondering if they have enough redox signaling molecules. But there are millions of Americans in the richest country in the world that go to bed every night wondering if they got enough money to pay the bills and if they're ever going to be able to sit down in retirement.
Yep.
And they won't necessarily tell you that on the front end. In fact, when I ask people, what do you want more of in your life? The number one answer is time. Well, what they really mean is money, but they won't say that. They'll say time. And then when I ask them what they want to do with that time, well, I want to travel, or I want to spend more time with my kids or my grandkids or whatever. And I said, sounds like to me those things are going to take money. Is that right? Yeah. What do you want to have less of in your life? Number one answer, stress.
Mm-hmm.
What causes you stress? Number one answer, not enough money. So I'm just saying that, Jeri and I, we're trying to help people have a better life.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of them, that's health. For others, it's better health, but it's also creating some income. And
Yeah.
I've never seen a vehicle that can create income like this can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's an interesting combination of Fortune 50 corporate executives and network marketing professionals and just regular people that are just super nice and super compassionate and genuinely care about other people. So there's a whole vibe in the ASEA company that is very unique to ASEA, I think. Don't you?
Yeah, well,
I'm going to say one more thing. When we were laughing yesterday when Karen Riley was here, and we had so much fun with her. I spent 35 years selling gasoline, and I made millions of dollars for Texaco. But the president of Texaco never looked me in the eye with big old tears and said, "Thank you for helping me share my gasoline."
Right.
And, Vertus has done that to me so many times. Just hugged me and looked at me, and said, "Thank you for helping me do this." That's so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, it is powerful. It is powerful. What we're doing matters. And,
Yes.
Even though we have to go through a lot of stuff to get where we ultimately want to go, when we have that experience where somebody says, "Are you kidding me? I haven't felt like this for 30 years. We know we're onto something, right?
Well, this weekend, it's fun to look around that room and remember people that wouldn't even be alive today.
One of the most powerful testimonials weekend was in Sally Troutner's downline on Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, so tell us about this event. I know that you've been pretty consistent about doing events to build your ASEA business. Tell us about the event that you hosted this weekend.
Well, I need to correct you. We haven't been very consistent. We were for a long time.
We were, yeah.
And as long as Jeri and I were giving people a free lunch, we had great attendance. I mean, they were showing up, bringing to-go boxes and everything else. But when we cut out the free lunch, things kind of dropped off pretty quickly. And we're just now kind of getting back in the swing of things. We printed out 281 tickets from Eventbrite. And we had, Karen and I were just hoping that we'd have 100, 110 people. And we ended up, we had an official count of 151, but I know there were other people that came into the room after that.
Yeah, it's more like 160.
I'd say it was closer to 160 or 65.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest, I mean, years ago when Dr. Kaufman first got started, we had an event with Gary Samuelson and I don't remember who else, Karen, I don't know who all else. And we had like 260 people there. But we haven't come close to that. If you remember when you guys came down, I think we had 83 people. When Dick Walker came over, I think we had 75 or 80 people. And this time I was just over the moon excited because out of that 151 official count, 70 of those were associates and 81 were visitors, guests.
Awesome.
And the result was we had 20 people sign up for convention. We, on that day, on Saturday, enrolled 12 new associates. Rodasi Ashaya, who's one of our gals, she's working her tail off. She invited a bunch of people, but 8 people showed up. She enrolled 4 out of 8 people.
She had 8 guests and enrolled 4 people.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's
You know what that does for your self-esteem. Oh, my goodness.
So what did you do? Obviously, you didn't invite 80 people.
No, sir, I did not.
You didn't, host 80 guests. So how did you get all these associates to invite guests?
Well, Dr. Kaufman gets a huge amount of credit because Aaron is so much better at promoting events than I am. And he worked really hard. Interestingly enough, he had 11 guests, and Cheryl Sharps had 7, and Rodasi had 8. But everybody got involved with inviting their friends. I mean, some of them only had 2 out of the 22 people that they printed tickets off of. But, some of them had a few more. And it was a combined effort of everybody. It was not a single person doing it all. It was everybody contributing.
Well, Vicki told us tonight she had 3 guests and she's enrolled 2 people.
There you
right.
go.
That's huge.
So talk a little bit about the Eventbrite thing that you did so that you had guests tickets with their personal name on the ticket. So that's more of a commitment than if it's just kind of a free floating ticket, right?
That's what we thought. Eventbrite has changed the way they operate. They now charge pretty good. But for the first time ever, the net proceeds from our Eventbrite sales pretty much covered our room. And always before, Jeri and I have had to subsidize it pretty heavily.
Yeah, I think that's the first time ever.
Yeah. But what we told people was, look, when a guest says that they will come, go to Eventbrite. You have to print the tickets one at a time, but you go in there and put their name on that ticket, and then print it and give it to them. That way, there's a little more of a commitment to be there.
Yeah.
And I can tell you right now, we've never come close to 81 guests, even when we had 260. There weren't 81 guests there, I can tell you that.
Well, and chances, if they weren't planning on showing up, chances are they wouldn't take the ticket that had their name on it. No, I don't think I'm really whatever, right? So it's a very subtle way, but a very powerful way of, getting commitment.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Karen said, typically you'll get 40% of your guests to show up, but I think we could have maybe better than that, didn't we?
No, I don't think so, because I don't remember the exact number. I know we printed 281 tickets, and so 70 of those were for associates. So we probably printed over 200 tickets.
But Cindy, you're so right. I mean, if they have a ticket with their name on it, it's so much more powerful.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. I mean, that's the first that I've heard of a guest ticket being printed out with somebody's name on it. So you may be onto something, huh?
Well, Eventbrite charges pretty good now. I mean, I'm trying to think. I think probably their commission off this whole deal. And it's one of the reasons why we raised our price from $10 to $15 for single associates. And we then put in a $20 ticket for a couple, for two people from the same business. But I think we probably netted a little over 1,000, and I think the total amount they collected was like over 1,200. So it's a pretty good little whack they take off.
So they took like $200, huh?
Yeah, but I really think that having the tickets is going to really help you get a better turnout.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about the agenda for the day. How did it go?
We started off with Karen. She was our host, and Karen started off with some preliminary things, and she had some giveaways for people that had come the furthest and brought, those kinds of things. We had raffle drawings all day long, just giving away swag and some product, that sort of thing. We started off with Karen making a few remarks, and she introduced Foster and Terry, and they just did a out of the park, over the moon presentation for our product and science. And then Dr. Kaufman lined up some testimonials that were a part of that. And we started at 9 o'clock. I learned one thing. You need to tell people registration begins at 8:30, because at 5 minutes till 9, we had a glut of people trying to get in, because we were starting. And that's a mistake that we won't make again.
Yeah.
But then after Foster and Terry did their presentation, then we had a doctor's panel, and we had Dennis, Dr. Downey, Dr. Morin, Dr. Malmed, and Dr. Kaufman were our doctor's panel. And we followed that with a ladies panel, women's panel, and Jeri and Terry and Kathy Morin and Julie Downey were the ladies panel.
That was the worst one.
Oh, Jeri didn't feel like she did a very good job.
Oh,
I tried to tell her she did a great job. Well, anyway, we broke then at 11:30, and we took a 90-minute lunch break. Got back at 1 o'clock, had a couple of drawings, and then Karen and I did recognition. And then I'm trying to think, after that, I believe.
What did Marty do?
It was okay. Dr. Kaufman did a getting started presentation, and he did a really good job.
And then Dr. Morin did
Go for the Nose.
Go for No. He was fast. Oh, he was great.
He really did a good job. We were tickled to death with that. And then Jeri and I did a little blurb on Jeannie.
ABC.
And
deductor.
For the first time, we really showed people the deductor. Jeri said to me, she said, "I'm so sick and tired of having people tell me that the product is too expensive." And she said, "I now can say to them, why don't you let Uncle Sam, why don't you let the IRS pay for your product? They'd be happy to. All you got to do is document your expenses, and they'll be happy to pay for your product, plus some."
Yeah.
So anyway, and then Terry Malmed did just a bang-up job on social media. I learned what ATM stands for and what it means and how to do it.
And tag and message.
Right.
We all learned. And I'm a Facebook warrior tonight.
I have finally discovered there's two things I have to master in this business. One is I got to learn how to use social media.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can touch way more people on social media than I ever can belly to belly.
Yep.
And it's just dumb on my part not to do it.
Cindy, the coolest thing was Friday night, Terry posted her personal testimonial about the fact that she was bitten by a bug that caused her to have some real serious health challenges. She posted that on Friday night, and we watched it all weekend. And she had touched over 500 people by Sunday.
Yeah.
I couldn't do, Bob, how many networking events would we have to go to? I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. It's what we all have to learn it and do it. So.
And I got to learn how to do PowerPoint or Keynote or something like that, because I have to rely on other people to do my presentation. Larry McFarland actually put our presentation together. And it was, I think it was the best presentation Jeri and I have ever done on any single training subject. It was great. If you want it, I'll be happy to send it to you.
Would love to see it.
It's great. It's really well organized. We did it in 30 minutes.
And the deductor part is mostly a 4-minute video.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to see is, how they can document their expenses.
But with Jeannie's Pro version, which is $19.95 a month, you get deductor free.
Right.
So
why are you guys working so hard? You could be playing golf 7 days a week. You could, why are you working so hard? Putting together these events, hosting these events, learning social media. Why are you working so hard?
Because I want to go on that diamond trip.
You know what?
Somebody said something about being paid at triple or ambassador or president. I said, I don't care. All I want to be paid at is just enough times at Diamond to qualify for that trip.
Nobody takes better care of us than ASEA.
Yeah.
We, Cindy, you know what? That's a weird. It's a difficult answer. Bobby and I both feel like this is the most significant thing we've ever done in our life, and it's odd to know that you're making it. There was a young woman in Sally Troutner's business that stood up in our meeting. We've never met her. Her testimonial was so profound.
Oh man, it was mind-blowing.
I'm weeping in the back of the room, and I don't know this woman. I've never met her. Now,
give us a hint of what happened to her.
Well, she had a brain injury.
Yeah.
She had a brain injury, and I mean, she was pretty much non-functioning.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucille Brasher, who's in Sally Troutner's business, Lucille shared it with her father, who's like a professor emeritus of something or other. I'll give you a little side story there in a minute. It was really funny. But
he was our network marketing heckler
right.
of the day. But anyway.
Well, he introduced it to her, and she had this amazing experience. And Karen gave her time. She probably took 4 or 5 minutes telling her experience. But I mean, it was so powerful. She let her do that. Then
she still had you could still see the
zipper
scars where she had her surgery, and she's speaking beautifully, and it was so powerful.
She can remember things, and she has good mental cognition and those kinds of things, which she just didn't have any of.
We didn't know she was going to be there.
No, but I'll tell you what's really funny. The old man gets up and I'm a professor emeritus of so-and-so. And he said, I could care less about network marketing. All I care about is the product. And Karen said, well, let me tell you something. If it weren't for network marketing, you'd have never heard about this product.
There you go.
And you know what? And your daughter wouldn't be here today either if network marketing hadn't been the vehicle that got it. You can't put a bottle of this stuff on the shelf at Walgreens. People take one look at that. They don't know what it does. They've never heard of redox signaling. It's only got 2 ingredients, salt and water. This is the only one. Cindy, I loved your little Facebook deal. I just watched it.
That's what I love about those meetings. You never know when somebody that powerful is going to show up that you don't know about.
Foster did a great job with the 3 times in 5 minutes. And for the first time, I saw the advantage of the sample tubes. We just gave everybody a sample tube that was willing to try it, and then every guest got a sample tube. And then Karen went around interviewing some of these places. This one lady was so funny. She goes like this. She said, my left thumb is jealous of my right thumb.
I've never liked the sample tubes because I won't send one home with somebody. I don't think it's enough product to be powerful. But in a meeting like that, you give somebody a sample tube and have them do 3 times in 5 minutes and then interview them. And it was powerful. It was awesome.
Yeah, we did that as part of our presentation at the very beginning of the event that we did in Golden recently.
Uh-huh.
We gave a tube to all of the guests. And after the presentation, they had a chance to put it on. And we asked how many people had results, and every single one of those guest hands went up.
Isn't that great?
You think those guests are going to stick around for the day and see what, how this works and what we're up to? So it's a very powerful tool.
he said, okay, we're going to do testimonials. Do your first application. Then after, when we have our second testimonial, then he would go, do your second application. I mean, it's kind of like being in kindergarten, but it's so great.
Yeah, that's great. If there were 3 takeaways that you took away from the event this weekend, what would they be?
Whew.
I learned so much about social media and how much less stressful it is to actually do it. I have always been so intimidated by it. And last night I went on and I tagged some people and I pulled up some testimonials that were applicable to their problems and sent them to them. And I just felt like a Facebook warrior last night.
Yeah.
I think the main thing that I came away from there was more aware of how important recognition is. And not just for rank advancement, but for correct business building behaviors. You need to recognize your people when they enroll somebody. You need to recognize your people when somebody in their organization subscribes to Jeri and goes through the setup process. I mean, it's just all these business building behaviors that you need to recognize your people for. And I haven't done a good job of that. I mean, I'm so motivated by recognition. You'd think I'd recognize other people are too.
Yeah.
But I know that didn't sink
And the
in my
third
head.
thing is Karen Riley's the most amazing woman on the face of the earth.
Yeah, she's pretty great.
Wow.
Pretty great.
Yeah, I tried to get her to quit ASEA and come on as an associate in one of our businesses.
Now.
Down, boy.
Well, congratulations on an incredible event this weekend.
Thank
You guys
Thank
really
you. We had
knocked
a
it out
great
of the park.
time.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. You got a nice crowd here tonight. It's nice to see you people. Sally, I didn't even realize you were on, so I just now looked up and saw you there.
Yeah. Well, if you have a couple more minutes, I'd love to open it up for some questions to see if people want to ask you a burning question.
Absolutely.
All right. So if you have a question for Bobby and Jeri, just raise your hand and unmute yourself in the lower left-hand corner. So go ahead, Ruth.
Oh, hi, Bobby and Jeri. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi.
For your event. That's great. You had talked about the product follow-up and how in the beginning you don't feel like you maybe did the best at it that you could have. What are you now doing different after people get their product that you weren't doing before that you could encourage us to do more?
Not enough. And I will say, Terry and Foster were so inspiring. Foster said they are obnoxious in the beginning with following up.
When they get the product.
That calling them every day and making sure they're doing as much as they want them to do, as often as they want them to do. They're using a clean glass. And if they're not getting a response, they're making them increase and do. And, having people have a good product experience is just critical to all of us.
Well, I mean, a classic example for us is when we sponsored Shauna Rampley. I didn't follow up and call her to see how things were going. It was like 7 weeks later she called us. And that's when she said, I'm about scared to say this out loud, but I think this stuff's helping me. But I mean, let me tell you how bad it is.
The worst thing in the world that can happen to us is for somebody to drink one bottled product and quit and tell everyone it doesn't work. So
let me put it in perspective.
Yeah.
Jeri and I have personally sponsored 186 people. And out of that 186 sponsorship legs, we struggle every week to get 6 or 7 Director 300s. That sucks. And people say, well, why? I said, it's very simple. Most of those people got in for my reasons or Jeri's reasons, not theirs. And that's why I say the most important thing I've learned recently is I don't talk to anybody about my business or my products until I know 3 things. I know what they want, why they want it, and how serious they are about getting it. Because you may not know this, but people only do what they want to do. You talk them into doing something they don't want to do, they won't do it very long.
Yeah.
So I can get all kinds of people enrolled,
We've done.
but I just blew it because they didn't get in for their reasons. And of course they didn't stay. They didn't keep doing anything because they weren't there because they wanted to be there.
So how long does Foster say to be obnoxious? For 3 weeks or 2 months?
Until they get a product experience.
Yeah, until they basically are giving you feedback that they're seeing some results.
That it's working.
He says you just keep following up and calling them and asking, how are you doing? What are you doing? How do you do this? How much are you taking?
Are you using a clean glass?
Yeah.
Are you, all of that stuff.
And they have a list. They're going to send it to me, but they have done their own sort of baseline questionnaire that they use. That's way more comprehensive than the one that comes in the case.
And
one thing I was going to say, Cindy's got her. I just wanted to say that. Oh boy, I probably lost it through all that reverb. Sorry about that.
I love you, Bo.
It had to do with. Oh boy, it's totally gone, guys. Sorry about that. Huh?
The body inventory sheet?
No, it didn't have anything to do with that. Sorry.
I have some very.
I was going to say to Ruth about the follow-up. One thing that's really important that I know the Malmeds do is when they make that call, they assure them that they're calling because they want to make sure they're helping them and that asking permission to call the next day.
Yeah.
So it ends up being a revolving, making the appointment all the time, setting up the next appointment. So it's not just a phone call that comes and they're going, holy crap, there's the Malmeds again. Wonder whether it's going to be Terry or Foster. They've set it up and said, our responsibility is to make sure that you get the results that you're looking for. And, so we need to touch base with you every day, et cetera, et cetera.
All we're doing is trying to take care of people. So.
Whoops, sorry about that. Okay. Does that help, Ruth? Yes. Okay, fantastic. Any other questions? Whoops. Any other questions for Bobby and Jeri? I want to know, Bobby and Jeri, if you ever question whether this is worth it because you get people that are rolling their eyes or just kind of wading through your conversation, or they have just a condescending attitude towards what you're doing, or you get another heckler in the room of the meeting when his daughter had an incredible experience, and you just go, what the heck is going on here? Do you ever doubt what
let me say this to you. Ever since I've started finding out what they want and why they want it and how serious they are about getting it, I don't have many people rolling their eyes back and being condescending.
Other than our family.
Well, I don't mess with my family. I mean, I got four brother-in-laws, 3 of them are doctors, and one's an attorney. The attorney's in our business. The doctors are not. They won't even look at it. So I don't even count them. But I'm saying I don't have the same response I used to have when I have taken the time to find out what they want. Because once I know that, then I know exactly what to show them and say to them that lines up and resonates with what they're already motivated to do. Let me tell you, if you want to convert 90% of your follow-ups to either customers or associates, you absolutely have to approach it based on what they want, not on what you want. And just because our product makes everything better, that's not a good way to approach people. You need to find out what specifically they are motivated by. And when you do that, that whole approach, that whole thing changes, the dynamic changes immensely.
Yeah.
I think we've all, Bobby and I got involved because our son-in-law had a serious health challenge. And so the product got us interested. And then in several months later, we went to Salt Lake City and fell in love with the corporate. We fell in love with the whole thing, and the fact that it was the most ethically run thing I'd ever seen in my whole life. But you just got to figure out what everybody's looking for, and everybody's looking for something.
Yeah. So Wendy Stewart wants to know, how do you do that, finding out what they want?
Okay. I start a conversation, and I keep the conversation focused on them until they ask me what I do. And then I have a real short little deal I give them. Now, remember, I'm working in my cold market, guys. This is not what you do with hot and warm people, all right? This is cold people. I give them this little thing. I work with a biotech company that has a brand new health science called redox signaling. Bet you never heard of it. In a nutshell, it's the only thing that empowers the human body to heal itself. In addition to the health benefits, athletes are crazy about it because it increases their performance and their endurance, and it speeds up their recovery. And because this technology is marketed exclusively through a word-of-mouth distribution system, there's really an opportunity for you to make a little money if that interests you. Now, if I've said anything that catches your attention, if you'll give me your name, telephone number, and email address, I'll be happy to get back in touch with you, and I will arrange to get you everything you need to do your due diligence and check this out for yourself. And when they say yes, which they almost always do, I just pull out my little iPhone and I punch Jeannie. I said, here's my administrative assistant. She'll be happy to take your information. And I click on there and hand them the telephone and let them put their information in there. Now, when I get back home, I'm going to make a phone call and I'm going to set up either a face-to-face if they're local or a Zoom if they're at a distance. And I call that my connection meeting. And in that, I ask more questions until I get to the place where I ask these three questions. What do you want more of in your life? What do you want less of in your life? And how serious are you about actually doing something to make that happen? Give me a number from 1 to 10. If they give me anything less than a 7, I just smile and say, my option will not work with that level of commitment. Let me call you in about 6 months, see how you're doing. And that's the way I do it. And I can tell you, you can get a 90% conversion doing that. 90% of your follow-ups will convert to customers or associates if you follow that plan. Think about it, guys. Why? Because you're offering them a potential option that could help them get what they want. Why would they say no? Unless they've been lying to you. Oh, no, I was lying to you. I don't really want that.
That's right. That's right. Great. All right. Any final questions before we wrap it up tonight? Okay. Looks like we are complete. So Bobby and Jeri, thank you so much for giving us your time tonight, and really appreciate you guys. Congratulations on one heck of an event this weekend.
Oh, it's great. I didn't mean to pop in my robe, but
of course you did. That's all you had on. You had to.
No, it's your leopard fur.
Hey, thanks so much for letting us come on. We really appreciate it. You guys did a super great job for us on our team call. We'll get you back. In fact, Cindy, you weren't there, so we got to bring you on to let you talk about your share of this thing, because it's
okay. Would be happy to help you guys.
You were building the business while Bo was still slinging a hammer. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, or pointing his fingers, telling you guys, this crew to go that way and this crew to go this way. And yeah, that was a heck of a ride. But yeah, absolutely. We'll really appreciate you guys, and thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I'll unmute everybody so you can say goodbye to each other.
Thanks, you guys. Good to see you.
Bye.
You bet.
Good to see you guys. Love you, my family.
Thank you. Have a good night.
We'll see some of you in
Thank you
Mexico.
so much.